Want to know the most powerful thing I ever said to a woman who told me I was too old for her? She ended up pursuing me for months after. Here's the weird part. I never actually tried to convince her otherwise. In the next few minutes, you'll learn a simple 3-step method called TAP that turns "you're too old" into "I can't stop thinking about you," and how you can implement this method in real life. But before I reveal this counterintuitive technique, let me show you why most men completely destroy their chances when a woman says "you're too old for me," and how just last week one of my friends turned this exact objection into the reason she chose him over younger guys. I've studied hundreds of age gap relationships over the years, and after analyzing how men handle this specific situation, here's what shocked me. The men who succeeded weren't the ones who looked youngest for their age. They were the ones who understood this hidden psychology I'm about to share with you in the next few minutes. I'm going to share something that might make you uncomfortable, because when a woman says "you're too old for me," you're standing at a crossroads that will define every interaction you have with younger women from that moment on. Think about it. You probably spent years building your success, your confidence, your lifestyle, and in just 30 seconds, one wrong response can make all of that irrelevant in her eyes. I've seen it happen hundreds of times. The successful CEO who fumbles his words and instantly becomes the old guy. The confident businessman who tries too hard to prove himself and loses her respect. The charming professional who lets this one comment shake his entire frame. But here's the truth. Nobody's talking about when she says "you're too old." You have a unique opportunity that younger guys will never have. In fact, this objection can actually be the moment she becomes more attracted to you than ever. Triple death trap. Let me show you the 3 responses that instantly kill attraction. I call these the triple death trap because any one of them can destroy her interest in seconds. Death trap. Number 1, the defensive response. No, I'm not that old. I mean, I work out 5 times a week, and everyone says I look way younger. Why this fails? You're essentially pleading your case, which tells her age actually is a problem for you. Remember, if it's a problem for you, it becomes a problem for her death. Trap number 2, the logic trap. Well, actually, studies show that age gaps can lead to more successful relationships. Plus, older men are more financially stable and emotionally mature. Why this fails? You can't logic your way into attraction. The moment you start listing reasons why she should date you, you've already lost. As I always mention in my videos, you can't explain your way into her heart. Death trap number 3, the confidence killer. Yeah, I guess maybe I am kind of old for you, but why this fails? The moment you accept her frame and show uncertainty, you confirm every stereotype about older men she might have had. But what if I told you there's a way to take this exact moment, this supposed objection, and turn it into the reason she can't stop thinking about you? Here's something fascinating. I've noticed after coaching thousands of men, the same woman who tells one man he's too old will often end up dating someone even older. Let me say that again. The same woman. I had an old man visiting me last month, let's call him James, who heard these exact words from a woman at a charity gala. 2 months later, she was dating someone 12 years older than him. The difference wasn't looks, it wasn't money, it was understanding what she was really saying. And that brings us to what's actually happening in her mind. When a woman says "you're too old," she's not making a statement. She's asking 3 subtle questions. 1, are you insecure about your age? She's not worried about the number, she's worried about whether you're worried about it. 2, can you handle social pressure? She's thinking about how she'll feel introducing you to her friends, her family, her social circle. 3, are you truly confident in who you are? This is the biggest test of all, and most men completely miss it. But here's where it gets interesting, the TAP method. This is where everything changes. I've developed what I call the TAP method. A three-step response that turns this objection into attraction, and it works so well that sometimes I find myself hoping women will bring up the age thing. T transformed the test when she says, "You're too old for me, you're going to do something unexpected," instead of defending or explaining. You'll amplify it with a playful smirk. You're absolutely right. I'm ancient, in fact. I just finished writing my memoirs from the Renaissance. Notice what's happening here. You're not just agreeing, you're exaggerating to the point of absurdity. This does three things. 1 shows complete confidence in who you are. 2 demonstrates you can't be emotionally manipulated. 3 changes the entire dynamic from serious to playful. Amplify the attraction. This is where most guys stop. But we're just getting started. Right after your playful response, you'll transition to, "But you know what's interesting? I've noticed you're quite mature for your age." The way you just handled that situation earlier, most women in their 30s wouldn't have had that insight. Do you see what's happening? You've just turned the tables by evaluating her, given a genuine specific compliment, created intrigue about what you noticed about her position. The pose shift. This is the master stroke. You're going to shift the entire phrase with one perfectly timed statement. "Actually, I should probably be more concerned whether you're mature enough for me." Then give a playful smile. What's the most sophisticated thing you've done this month? This final move places you in the position of selector, creates positive tension, gives her a chance to prove herself to you. But there's one more crucial element that most men miss entirely, and it's what separates the men who get one date from the men who build genuine, lasting attraction. Remember James from earlier? Let me show you what happened when James used this exact method last week. Let's break down the exact implementation, including voice tonality. Start with a slightly amused tone, transition to warm curiosity, end with playful challenge. Body language. Key, maintain relaxed posture, slight head tilt during playful moments, strong eye contact during power shift, subtle smile throughout timing. Secrets. First response, immediate and light-hearted. Second phase, slow down, create anticipation. Powers shift delivered with purposeful timing. Here's what actually happened next to James. He used the tap method exactly as I showed you, but instead of just getting a positive response, something unexpected happened. The woman who had just told him he was too old started asking him questions about his life experiences. 2 weeks later, she told her friends, "It's like his age is one of the most attractive things about him now." But here's the real twist. She was actually older than the last girl he dated. The age wasn't the real issue. It never is. Now let me show you something even more powerful, how to prevent this objection before it ever comes up. I call this framing your age, and it works like psychological Ido. Pre-frame your age. Here are 3 powerful frames that make age a non-issue. 1. The experience when sharing a story, casually drop in, "Yeah, that's one thing I love about being at this stage in life." You get to understand things that most people don't appreciate until much later. Notice how this positions your age as an advantage without being defensive about it. 2. The social proof setup. Instead of hiding previous relationships, strategically mentioned, "My ex was actually about your age. It's interesting, she always said the best thing about our relationship was why this works." Shows you're comfortable with age gaps, demonstrates pre-election, removes the taboo factor. 3. The value flip. This is my favorite when discussing life experiences. Say something like, "You know what's fascinating about meeting people from different generations? You get to combine fresh perspective with real-world wisdom that's actually rare to find." Remember that the key is dropping these naturally into conversation before age ever becomes an issue. It's like vaccinating against the objection. Here's why this pre-framing strategy is so powerful when a woman meets an older man. She has two competing narratives in her mind. One, the social programming that says age gaps are weird. Two, the natural attraction to confidence, experience, and masculinity by music pre-framed her perception. Let me show you exactly how to implement this in the real-world scenario. One first meeting drop, the experience thread within first 10 minutes. Watch for her reaction. If positive, follow with value. Flip scenario 2, early dating phase. Use social proof setup. Naturally transition to deeper conversations. Create positive associations with the age gap. But here's the most powerful truth I've learned after years of studying and dealing with age gap relationships. Your age is either going to be your greatest insecurity or your greatest asset. There is no in-between. The men who succeed with younger women aren't the ones who look youngest. They're the ones who make their age part of their masculine appeal. Think about it. What's more attractive? A man who's trying to hide who he is, or a man who's fully embraced his journey and the wisdom it's brought him? Remember how we started this video? That woman who said I was too old for her. She ended up telling me months later that it was exactly how I handled that moment, with absolute confidence and playfulness that made her realize she had never met a man so comfortable in his own skin. The age gap that was initially her biggest concern became one of the things she found most attractive about our connection. Now, it's your turn. Here's what I want you to do. Drop a comment below with your age. The biggest challenge you're facing with younger women. Which of these techniques you're going to try first?